Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I'm Trevor with Maker Experiment, and in today's video, I'm going to be talking about how to add a spot gloss to your UV printing designs. Let's get into it. When I talk about a spot gloss to the design, I mean a specific piece of the design that is printed that looks like it's raised up using a gloss ink that will show the color through that layer. I printed a little bit of a sample and I will talk through what I mean before we make a larger version of this design. Here's the sample that I made of my design. So looking straight on, it just looks like it's printed on. Now, if I hold it at a slight angle, you can see that the black portions up here, as well as some of the text, so you can see that all of that is raised up. So the Las Vegas is raised, the Nevada, fabulous, welcome, all of that is raised a little bit off the surface. So this is what I mean by that spot gloss, because it can add a texture or feeling to your design. My plan for this project is I'm going to use some 1/4 inch white acrylic that is cast acrylic. I'm going to laser cut the shape of the sign, and then I'm going to do all of the printing. I will show you the printing layers, what they look like, and how I achieve that look. So first up, let's laser cut out the sign shape. For the actual printing process on this design, I have to split it up into a few layers. The first layer is going to be the template that I print onto the UV bed in order to place my sign. The second layer is going to be the actual color layer, where it's going to have the entire design. And then the third layer is the gloss layer, where I'm going to print just the parts that I want raised as a gloss layer. So that's all going to raise that up and give it that extra little bit of texture. So here in my design file, so this red border is my template. That's layer number 1. Layer number 2 is the actual color design with all of the trees, the sign, the reds, the blues, all of that. And then the last layer is all in black. It is my gloss layer. So I'm using black. I will switch up what is printed in the print software. So what I do is I go ahead and save this as a PDF with all the pages, and then I'm going to jump over to my printer software. In the printer software, I'm going to open up my UV printed sign design. I'm going to import all pages, and it's going to open up all 3 as separate layers so I can print them one at a time. So here, just like in the Illustrator file, you'll see I have the template, you'll see that I have the sign itself, and then the gloss layer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and print the template onto the bed. I'm not going to show that because it's just a red square, or red rectangle, whatever. And then I'm going to go ahead and put my piece on there and print the colored portion. So to do this, I'm just going to use a flat 720 by 900 color only, and I'm just going to print the red and get that part going. So once that prints, I will show you what I do with the acrylic, and then we'll print the actual color layer. All right, so the template's printed. All I'm gonna do is peel off this masking. So I'm going to bring this out, line the acrylic up with this red border, and just place it onto the bed. Now that the acrylic is on the actual printer bed, I'm going to go over to my color layer. I'm going to change that to make sure that it is a 720 by 1200 color only. From there, I'm just going to hit print because I want everything to stay the same. I want the colors to work themselves out. and I'm going to click OK and send it over to the printer. Once that layer prints, go ahead and leave it on the printer. Do not move it because it is going to be critical for placing the next piece. Before we jump into the next part of this, I want to mention that this design that I'm using right now, I'm actually going to be using for a presentation that I am doing at the APA Expo here in Las Vegas on February 8th. So I'm going to be doing a course on the basics of signage design, doing things like UV printing and laser cutting together. So be sure to check that out. I'll leave a link in the description below for the expo and what that's all about, where you can meet a bunch of people from laser companies, UV printing companies, fellow laser owners, and get to know some people in the industry. I also want to mention that I do have a free laser community. I will leave that in the link as well. But if you go to lasersmadesimple.com/community, you can get to know other laser owners. You can see projects that they've made, ask questions if you're running into trouble, and get to know people and network. I also have a membership where I do group lives every month, where I'm going to be teaching topics and going through my full design process of how I do things from scratch. So if you want to check that out, it is at lasersmadesimple.com/membership. But I wanted to make sure that you knew that all of those were available, because I want to make sure that all of you have as much chance to succeed at running your own business as possible. So with that in mind, let's go back into the design. Now that the first layer is printed, I'm going to click on the all black layer. This is going to be the gloss layer. So what I need to do for this is up in the top left, I'm going to click on Print Setup. Underneath of this, I'm going to click on the properties, go to my layer selection, and instead of color under layer 1, I'm going to uncheck that, and I am going to check the clear one. Now, there might be a variety of ways to do this and still achieve that gloss look and be able to get that raised effect through different settings. This isn't the only way to do this. This is just one way that you can accomplish it. So once you have that clear checked, click OK. Click OK again to get out of the properties. And then you're going to select Print and print this design. Now, depending on how thick you want that layer, you can print the same thing multiple times to build that layer up. It all just depends on the look that you're going for. So what I'm going to do is click OK to print it, and then we'll head over to the machine, and it's not going to look like it's doing much, but we'll watch it print that gloss layer, and I will show you the result afterwards. Here's the final print. I did print the gloss twice just to make it raise up a little bit more. But if you angle it just right, you can see the glossy sheen. You can see how it's raised up a little bit. But let me get you a closer look. So on the design, you can see that this black is raised up quite a bit. It is kind of hard to catch it on camera, but you can see a little bit of rise to the design. You can see that there's some gloss shine to it. You can see that all of those borders are raised up higher than what the flat part of the sign is. So you can see that border's raised up, this part's raised up, even the W and E are raised up. All of the text, you can definitely feel it in real life. But that is how you add that gloss to give a little bit of pop to your design. And that gives you the final design. You will notice that I used some white acrylic that you can backlight. So you could backlight this and light it up a little bit as well. That gives you a little bit of insight into how I do these designs. Hopefully this video has been helpful. If it has, I'd appreciate it if you give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so that you know when I come out with new videos. Definitely try this technique if you have one, and if you have a laser, try combining this with laser cutting and add elements to this to give it a more raised look. It gives a pretty cool effect. If you'd like to see pictures of the things that I do along the way, check out my Instagram @MakerExperiment, where I share projects as I'm working on them. But I want to thank you for taking the time to watch this video, and I'll see you in the next one.